What's happening, Expeditioners? It's Peter here, founder of Expedition Money. One of the things that I have been thinking a lot about right now is the workplace environment and how important it is to not only have a good working relationship with your boss, but also be on the same page as your boss's boss. So, I want to talk to you about maybe you are looking at a job and you're interviewing, and a lot of times you'll interview with people who might be your future coworkers, certainly your boss. And oftentimes your boss's boss will want to do the interview. And so you may be interviewing with someone who's going to be a level above your boss. And for me, the most important thing is obviously having a good, healthy working relationship with your boss. That doesn't necessarily mean you got to be buddies, doesn't mean you have to grab drinks outside of work or have the same humor or anything like that. But you want to have a good working relationship. You want to have a good understanding about what does your boss trust you with? What kind of range is your boss giving you in terms of freedom and autonomy? What is your boss expecting out of you? And are the skills that you're bringing to the table the things that your boss is trying to embrace? I think a lot of us want to be contributors to our work, and we want the space to be able to contribute and to come up with ideas and to do that good work. And so, obviously, having a working relationship with your boss, maybe it's a little standoffish, maybe it's very professional, maybe it's very collegial, maybe you do get along really well and your families get together for barbecues, whatever it might be. Those can all be great. But if you have a good working relationship with your boss, that is obviously the big part of being satisfied at your work. In fact, a lot of people say you don't leave jobs, you leave bosses, because if you have a boss that you can't work for, you don't get along, you have philosophical differences, maybe you have ethical differences, maybe you have differences in opinions on how the program should be run or the vision for where you're going, whatever it might be. When you and your boss have divergent paths, that's probably just not going to work out, and a lot of people will end up leaving. However, I want to say that it doesn't end there, unfortunately. In a lot of companies, there are certain levels of management, and your boss, the person that you report to, probably has a boss above them. Maybe it's pretty high up. Maybe they're only one level removed from the CEO or the owner of the company, but maybe they're kind of middle management. Maybe there are a ton of levels above them. It doesn't really matter. But what's probably going to happen is that your boss is going to have some ideas. And so if you guys are in sync with each other, trying to get things done, and then your boss has a boss that is slightly out of sync or doesn't get along or doesn't share a strategic vision, even though you and your boss may get along just fine, if the orders that are coming down through your boss to you don't marry with what you need out of your job and with what you can contribute, then there are going to be problems. Obviously, any one of the levels above them can also be a problem too. But what I want to say here is that when you are interviewing, if you do have an opportunity to talk with your boss's boss, it's a great opportunity to just ask those questions to make sure that you're aligned. Think about if you were going to report to that person directly. Do you share their opinions? Do you think they're competent to lead this department or project? If you had the opportunity and if you needed to, could you report to this person? Do you find yourself aligned with their value system and their decisioning? And if you do, there's a pretty good chance that your boss and their boss get along pretty well and that you'll get along pretty well. There are three links in the chain that are going to work together. However, if you and your boss get along great, but there is a disconnect there, your boss is frustrated with the speed or maybe the process or just wants to go in a different direction. It's really important to know that because while working with your boss is probably going to be 80% of the job experience, that other 20% is going to matter a lot. If they're coming back to you with, hey, we have to make a change here, we've got to change directions, even though what I told you was right yesterday, I have new marching orders. Or I love the work that you provided and I floated that up to my boss and they want you to redo it again. There are going to be some cases where there might be some disconnects there, but you don't want a wholesale disconnect. You don't want someone who's bringing you in to make a better case to change direction with the person that they report to. So just be on the lookout for that. Understand that it's not just your boss you're working for, but it's the person that they report to too. And if you feel uncomfortable at that level or the level above, it might be a good indicator that that's not going to be a good role for you long term. So just keep that in mind. You're not just working for your boss, you're working for the person above them. So I hope that helps if you're trying to determine if you can stay at your company or get promoted, or if you should even take the job if you're interviewing. So hope that helps. I'll see you later.